So now let's continue with part 2 of the infection cycle. Did you know that this is not the first time Hong Kong is dealing with an outbreak? What is an outbreak? It's when the disease spreads very fast in a particular area. Okay, so that's an outbreak. In 2003, Hong Kong had an outbreak, a SARS outbreak. Now, you're too young. You probably were not born yet during that time. I was not in Hong Kong, but I know that there are some people, teachers who have been in Hong Kong during this time. And it was scary at that time as well because it spread so fast. Okay, what exactly is SARS? Okay, the S stands for severe, acute, respiratory syndrome. Severe acute respiratory syndrome. That is what SARS means. But what exactly do each of those words mean? Respiratory, has something to do with breathing. What about severe, acute, and syndrome? So let's talk about that. Severe means intense. It means it's very, very harmful. Okay? Very, very harmful. It can cause severe harm, a lot of harm. Okay? So that's intense. Acute worsens rapidly. Rapidly means very fast. Worsens means becomes bad. So intense is very harmful, and not only is it very harmful, it becomes bad very fast. Okay? So respiratory has something to do with breathing. There's your nose. Something to do with breathing. So when you have respiratory problems, you have difficulty breathing, and it leads to pneumonia. Okay? So what exactly is pneumonia? So when you breathe, the air goes through your windpipes and goes to your lungs. Okay? So the lungs inflate and provides oxygen, which is O2, to your blood. So if you cannot inhale because you have pneumonia, meaning your lungs fill up with fluid, okay? Or later on it fills up with pus. You know what pus is? It's when you pop your pimple, it's that white thing that comes out. Or if your wound gets infected, it's the sticky white fluid that comes out. Yep, your lungs can fill up with pus as well. And so look at what happens when your lungs is full of liquid and pus. Then you cannot inhale oxygen. You cannot breathe in oxygen. And then your blood does not get the oxygen it needs to make energy for your body. And therefore, you have difficulty breathing, and later on you suffocate. Suffocate means you die because you can't breathe. Okay? It's a terrible way to die. Okay? So that is what respiratory problem is. So very harmful, gets bad quickly, and you will have problems breathing. Okay? And what's a syndrome? Syndrome is symptoms that happens together. So you'll start with a fever, then you'll have cough, then you'll sneeze, then you have difficulty breathing, and then your body lacks oxygen, then you develop pneumonia, and eventually if you do not get help, like go to the hospital so the doctors can at least provide oxygen for your body, then it leads to death. Okay, so in Hong Kong, that's what happened. Okay, so the more you know. Why are we doing this? Because the more you know, the better prepared you can be. Knowledge will give you power. Okay, so this brings us to your project, the PSA project, or Public Service Announcement Project. Okay, turn this around. Okay, you are going to make a disease information sheet on the novel coronavirus. This is an example. Okay, let me just flip this over again. So you are going to create a disease information sheet. The name, this is this sample. Okay, this is just an example on SARS. Okay, this is a disease information sheet for SARS-CoV or SARS coronavirus. Here is a photo. of the SARS virus. You're going to tell me how it is transmitted. So the SARS virus is a respiratory virus. It's transmitted through air, remember from our first lesson. Droplets from coughing or sneezing carried by the air. It enters through the mucous membrane, eyes, nose, mouth. Lands on objects, stair rails, MTR rails, elevator buttons, and then it's transferred through touching infected objects, okay? Incubation period, okay, 2 to 10 days. That means it takes the virus 2 to 10 days depending on how old you are or your health, how healthy you are, before it is strong enough to make you sick. And when that happens, okay, if you remember, symptoms start to show. And it starts with a fever of greater than 38 degrees Celsius. Then you have headache, overall feeling of discomfort, body aches, chills, sore throat, cough, pneumonia, difficulty breathing, shortness of breath, because you cannot take a full breath since your lungs are full of liquid and pus. So you can only take, okay, very few small amount of oxygen, okay? Hypoxia, because you cannot inhale because your lungs are full of liquid and pus, you're going to suffer from hypoxia, which means not enough. Insufficient means not enough oxygen in your body. Okay, some patients suffer from diarrhea. So this is most infectious during the second week of illness. Okay, there's no known cure. You go to the hospital, they help you get over your pneumonia, they give you oxygen, they just help you wait out the disease. Okay, how to prevent if you are infected. If you had SARS, go to the hospital when symptoms show, and stay at home or stay in the hospital. And when you're cured, stay away from people for another 10 days to make sure that you are virus free. How to protect yourself if you are not infected, okay? Wear a mask, wash your hands. Do not touch your eyes, nose, mouth without washing your hands. Remember, this virus enters through the mucous membranes. Use hand sanitizers. Stay at home. If you have no business outside, stay at home. That's why we're doing this online learning. If you have to go out, stay away from crowded places, okay? And lastly, our statistics. 8,098 cases, 774 deaths. So that means worldwide, 8,098 people were infected. Of the 8,098 cases, there were 774 deaths. So that is the information sheet that you are going to complete. Okay? After you're done with your information sheet, you are going to design a poster. So this is my poster for SARS, okay? I didn't make it. I wish I did. It's really good. I just got it off the net. So this is an information poster on SARS, and it shows you the name, okay? It tells you the origin and how it probably moved from bat to cat, and how it jumped to humans. It talks about the symptoms, talks about the incubation period. It talks about how it's spread or transmitted. This is another word for transmission. Let me just write that down so you remember, transmission. And how to protect yourself. So this poster is very informative. Okay, it tells you what it is and the symptoms, incubation, how to protect yourself. Okay. This is another example, okay? It's the same thing. It tells you the signs and symptoms. It tells you what it is, okay? It gives you do's and don'ts, how to prevent it, okay? So this is another very informative poster. Or you might want to make an infograph, okay? So remember, we did an infograph before for the different body systems, okay? So this is the same thing. So it talks about what the SARS stand for, death toll, symptoms, If I have symptoms, what should I do? Who needs to be quarantined? What is the virus source? Quarantined means to be isolated, okay? Quarantined means isolated or kept away from other people, okay? If you're sick, keep away from other people. And this is the timeline from 2003 all the way to 2004, okay? You might want to make an information video, maximum 1 minute. The link is here. You can watch it at your own time. Who is your target audience? Are they children your age? Okay, adults? Okay. Any questions? If not, go and do your project. Remember, you can download it in Google Classroom and it will be submitted through Google Classroom as well. Okay? Bye-bye.